The November rain fell steadily on the castle at Zossen, headquarters of the Oberkommando des Heers. As General Franz Halder stood before the intelligence map of Western Europe, a thin file of reports clutched in his hand, it was late 1942, and the documents before him contained the first substantial evidence that American ground forces were not merely training in Britain, but had actually entered combat in North Africa. The implications of what he was reading went far beyond the immediate tactical situation in Tunisia. Halder understood with the cold clarity that had made him one of Germany's most capable staff officers that he was looking at the beginning of the end. The intelligence had been accumulating for weeks, fragmentary at first, then increasingly concrete. Reports from Vichy French sources in North Africa described large-scale Allied landings in Morocco and Algeria. Operation Torch Luftwaffe reconnaissance had photographed the invasion fleets. Wehrmacht intelligence officers in Spain reported massive ship movements through the Strait of Gibraltar. And now, most significantly, German forces in Tunisia were sending back after-action reports from engagements with fresh enemy units that were distinctly different from the British troops they had been fighting for years. These new soldiers wore different uniforms, carried different weapons, spoke with American accents when captured. Their equipment was new, their supplies abundant, their tactics initially clumsy, but backed by overwhelming material superiority. They were green, inexperienced, making mistakes that veteran Afrika Korps troops could exploit, but there were so many of them. And behind them stood the industrial capacity of a continent that had never known strategic bombing, never experienced invasion, never had its factories destroyed or its transportation networks shattered. Halder had been expecting this moment since December 1941, when Hitler had declared war on the United States following Pearl Harbor. That declaration had seemed almost casual at the time, made in a flush of confidence following the initial successes of Operation Barbarossa, premised on the assumption that America was weak, divided, and incapable of projecting military power across the Atlantic. Halder had known better. He had studied American capabilities, understood their industrial statistics, grasped what it meant that Germany was now at war with a nation that produced more steel in a year than Germany, Italy, and Japan combined. But knowing intellectually that America would eventually enter the war in force was different from confronting the physical reality of American divisions deploying in a theater where they could directly engage German forces. The war had just fundamentally changed. Field Marshal Albert Kesselring, commanding Axis forces in the Mediterranean theater, was among the first senior German commanders to face American troops in sustained combat. His initial reports to Berlin reflected a mixture of professional assessment and wishful thinking. Yes, the Americans were inexperienced. Yes, their tactics were predictable. Yes, German forces had won early engagements at places like Kasserine Pass. But Kesselring also noted things that troubled him deeply. The Americans learned from their mistakes with shocking speed. Units that had been routed in February fought with much greater competence by March. Their logistics were extraordinary. They never seemed to run short of ammunition, fuel, or spare parts. Their artillery was abundant and well handled. Their air support, once coordination problems were solved, was overwhelming. And, most ominously, they kept coming. Every defeated unit was replaced by another, fresh from training camps in the United States. While German reinforcements had to be scraped together from an overstretched military machine, General Hans-Jürgen von Arnim, commanding the 5th Panzer Army in Tunisia, sent even more pessimistic reports. Von Arnim understood armored warfare, and what he saw horrified him. The Americans possessed seemingly unlimited numbers of tanks. Shermans were individually inferior to panthers and tigers, but present in such quantities that qualitative advantage meant nothing. They had trucks by the thousands. Their communications equipment was superior. Their soldiers, once past initial shock, fought with determination and flexibility. Most disturbing was the industrial reality behind it all. Every Sherman destroyed could be replaced within weeks. Every aircraft shot down was succeeded by another. They were fighting a war of material attrition, and in such a war, Germany could not win. The Wehrmacht could achieve tactical victories, but strategy was being decided by production capacity, and there was no competition. The intelligence reaching Berlin painted an even broader picture. America had raised an army of millions in less than 2 years, constructed thousands of ships and aircraft, transformed its entire economy for war. Shipyards launched vessels in weeks, aircraft carriers in months. The entire productive capacity of the nation bent toward war. General Alfred Jodl studied these reports with growing alarm. He believed in German training and doctrine, but he understood numbers. America could outproduce Germany in every category. Moreover, Germany now faced a true multi-front war. In the East, the Soviet Union; in the South, North Africa; in the West, Britain and soon America. Germany was being encircled. Every division sent south weakened the East. Every aircraft diverted weakened the Reich. Every ton of fuel wasted was irretrievable. Hitler dismissed it all. He insisted Americans were weak, pampered, politically fragile. They would lose heart. They would quit. This was fantasy. The generals knew it, but could not say so. General Erwin Rommel perhaps understood it most clearly. The Americans changed everything. British forces had been constrained. The Americans were not. Rommel's requests were denied. By May 1943, Tunisia fell. 250,000 Axis troops surrendered. Captured equipment confirmed the truth. Reliable tanks, abundant trucks, excellent radios, superb artillery. Americans fought with an industrial mindset. Reliability over perfection, abundance over elegance. German culture prized excellence. America prized scale. Scale won. Sicily and Italy confirmed it. Each landing brought more troops, more equipment, more certainty of defeat. Modern war was decided by factories. Germany was losing. Kesselring's defensive brilliance could only delay. American forces improved rapidly. By Anzio, they were masters of amphibious warfare. Their doctrine was systematic, teachable, scalable. Back in Berlin, planners knew Germany would lose. Some hoped for a negotiated peace. It was illusion. American society proved resilient. Casualties did not weaken resolve. General Walter Warlimont understood by late 1943 defeat was inevitable, but saying so was treason. So they planned, pretended, delayed. D-Day confirmed everything. Normandy revealed American mastery. General Gunther von Kluge reported hopelessness. Every position was crushed. The Ardennes offensive briefly revived hope. Then it collapsed. American recovery was swift and overwhelming. General Heinz Guderian understood it was over. No reserves remained. In 1945, American forces entered Germany. They were professional, confident, unstoppable. Kesselring saw it clearly. Methodical, devastating warfare. Victory through logistics. In the end, defeat came not from weakness, but from mathematics. 5 Shermans beat 1 Panther. Unlimited artillery beat experience. The realization came everywhere, in reports, prisoners, skies filled with bombers, endless barrages. When Germany surrendered in May 1945, survivors knew the truth. The war had been lost the moment America entered, not in battle, in factories. The rain continued falling on Zossen as Halder stared at the map. Across the Atlantic, workers built Germany's destruction. The only question was time.